Today I'm going to show you how to dye visors. So the process is super easy, right? It's just a little bit of a synthetic dye. Synthetic's important because it bonds with the plastic. And then whatever you need to dye. Today I'm going to show you how to do visors. It works for submersible tea lights like these, right? They light up when you turn them. They're hard to find these days. This used to be the standard for Jawa eyes because it makes off-world because they're red. This is a painted one. I didn't like that at all because you can't see anything, right? I've got a set of clear, so we'll do some yellow since I'm doing yellow for the visors anyway. But if you're going to say modding Nerf guns and you want to start with a black base, black synthetic dye takes you right there. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to fill this up with water and put it on the burner. Then I'm going to fill this up with water and put some ice in it. I want to make sure I have enough water to completely cover whatever it is I'm trying to dye. I don't want to make it too full because, you know, I don't want things spilling over. My Luke Skywalker Black Series helmet, right? This visor is way more orange than you think, which is why I've got a little bit of orange. I'm probably going to use most of the yellow and then just a touch of the orange to shade it that way a little bit. Just like with hot sauces, always shake the bottle. And to heat this up, I want a light simmer. Do not want it to boil. I just want it to, you know, be semi-warm. Almost boil. Simmer, as it were. We have now hit a dangerous point. We have dye out. Anything we don't want to be this color, we need to protect. Which is, of course, why I'm wearing a white shirt. But I'm wearing gloves. It's synthetic dye, so it's less likely to mess with organic materials, but it still will. My Fitbit can easily be dyed. Put it under the glove. And I know it seems weird. Hot and cold, right? So the hot causes the pores of the plastic to open up and absorb the dye. Put it in the cold causes the pores to close back up. That's pretty much the gist of it. And I know this looks way darker than we want. The amount of color that's going to get into the plastic is way less than you think. So it might look darker. I think it'll be fine. We'll find out soon enough. We'll find out together. I took the clear plastics off the Jawa eyes. I'm going to dip them too. The key to this is dipping into the warm and then into the cold. Then back into the warm and into the cold, into the warm, into the cold. You keep doing that until you get the desired color you're going for. As soon as this gets up to a simmer, I'll show you what I mean. Oh, since we're talking science, this is important. This is a big open space, right? There is no way this is going to do anything other than atmospheric pressure. When it boils at the boiling point of water. What's the boiling point of water?
Water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit.
So 212 degrees. This is probably not going to get any hotter than that, right? This is a kettle. I love my kettle. My kettle is a small pressurized pot, right? It's got the big opening where steam pops out. But it creates more pressure inside, which means the water in here, even though they're both just at a boil, is going to be much hotter than the water in here. So if you're using this to shape plastics, be real careful. I have seen stormtroopers completely melt their armor because they used a kettle instead of an open pan. Something to keep in mind. Alright, now if you look, there's little wispies everywhere. So I'm turning this all the way down to low, both of them. That's about the temperature we want. So this is going to happen pretty quick. We'll start with the visor. I just put the visor in. I've already wet it. It helps absorb water. Just going to put it in. Keep it moving. And put it in the cold. And let that do its thing. These I'm much less worried about, so I'm probably just going to leave them in there a bit. Let them do their thing. Now I'm just going to keep going back and forth. So this has got barely a hinted color now. Just going to keep going back and forth between the warm and the cold. I don't like leaving these in for too long. It's a good way to get your plastic to look burned. If you do want to leave it in, this has got a convex shape. So we want to put water. So like this now is a bubble, which means that's an area that won't get water or won't get dye on it. So you have to be careful. Make sure you spin everything around a lot. I don't want to rest it just flat. And the water is simmering, so it's pretty warm. Another reason to wear gloves. There's just a couple times in and out, and it's got some okay color. Gonna let it go for a little bit. These visors are shaped just perfectly that I can't just put it down there like that without, you know, having an exposed spot. Careful, I'm spilling already. We're just gonna go back and forth for a while. You don't need to watch all of that. I wanted a more concentrated container, so I had to take last night's dinner out, put it in a new container, clean the container. Now we are. I don't like using metal for any of this. I like glass because I know glass is cleanable. I know no matter what, it's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna do anything weird. It's not gonna mess with food. I'll be able to scrub the heck out of it, put it in the oven for like 500 degrees for a couple minutes. You know, burn everything off. But we're in a much more condensed mix proportion. There's more dye, less liquid here. So I just dump the rest into one and just we're gonna leave it like that. So we continue. Let's get you a little closer so you can watch the action. All right, talk about exciting. We're watching water boil. And I want it just up to the edges. Not a lot of extra room, so you got to be a little more careful. We are getting there. It's actually most of the way there. When you break it down, none of this stuff is too difficult. Let me play it back so I got a chance to ramble at the camera. So none of this is really difficult, right? If you stop and you think about it, you're like, no, that makes perfect sense. I need my visor to be yellow, and I don't want to paint it. Well, have you tried dyeing it? Well, yeah, but what kind of dye do I use? I use synthetic dye because it's a synthetic. It's polyester. It's plastic. Use plastic dye. And the minute you say it, you're like, oh yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I don't know what I was thinking. And that's kind of the big secret to costuming. All of it's super easy, and it really makes sense once you figure it out. Getting there might be a little difficult, but I mean, for the most part, none of this is like secret, right? None of it's this hidden group of a cabal of individuals who are like, I know this knowledge and I must keep it secret. You ask all the major costumers on YouTube, and they all say the same thing. It just takes practice. It's all pretty easy. It just takes practice. Right? And there's little tips and tricks like going into the cold to lock in the color. But we're already 99% of the way there. Right? In fact, let me go grab my bucket so I can compare it to this bucket. So it's not just, you know, holding it up in midair. I desperately need to redo the lining in my bucket. It was one of those, I needed it for a troop. It was good enough. Let's bring it in so you can compare them. Of course, mine's painted Carillion, because why wouldn't it be? But Luke's is still a little more yellow. I'm probably going to dye it a few more times, but it's not bad. I mean, they're really comparable at this point. They used a yellow plastic versus my clear, but to get to that point, not too shabby. So I'm going to keep dyeing this back and forth for a while, right? I'll probably do it for the rest of the night, just because. It's not like anything else to do, right? Because I wanted a nice rich yellow, because I think the yellow will go fantastic with my Carillion green. These, on the other hand, will take a real long time, because acrylic doesn't like taking in color. It will, and it is slowly getting there, right? I'm probably going to have to leave this in here probably for 2 days, just to let all the color kind of grip in. I was hoping to have a before and after that I could show you, but you know, these things happen. Had an entertaining thought. The mason jar. When I'm done with the visor, I'm just going to dump everything I can into here, put the 2 Jawa eyes in, and just let them ride for as long as I can. This has gotten a little too tempered, so I'm reheating it up. While I'm doing that, I have my visor so any of the water drains off. Because the last thing, if I leave it upside down, it'll pool and cause little burn marks. Make sure, if you're going to leave it for any point in time, any length of time, you have your visor set so that everything drips off of it. Heck, I should probably just wipe everything off just to be on the safe side. Don't let it pool, because it will make weird colors. Unless you're going for weird colors, then you know, you be you. Today is tomorrow. This is what we got. I'm happy with it. Let me play in so I can compare you where we were to where we are. Alright, just a quick reminder, this is where we started, and this is where we've ended up. I'm very happy with it. If you go much darker than this on visors, it gets hard to see out of, but that just looks fantastic. It's very yellow. It's exactly what I was looking for. But when you compare the two of them together, it looks really good, especially on the green. I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not, but it looks really close. Yeah, that's a little more yellow than this is, but this is probably going to be way better to look out of. All in all, I'm extremely happy. It turned out fantastic. I really like how it looks. The visor, at least. The eyes are still in here. It's acrylic, and acrylic takes a bit longer to fully do its thing, but they'll get there. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's just a little bit of poly dye, and again, it's all technique. Technique and technique, technique. It's easy, right? Once you get used to it, it makes perfect sense. It's fast, it's easy, and it looks great. It also is fast and easy. Click on that subscribe button. Maybe the like, comment or two. You know, that is if this is your thing. And if it is, I really hope to see you next week.